Hello, welcome to the Deck Tech. Maria Bartholdi with Gerard Fabiano, 9th at Pro Tour Ixalan on breakers, back here to battle. You've brought a spicy brew. It's Sultai Pummeler. Tell us why you brought this deck.
I did. So at Ixalan I got 9th. My friend Matt Tumovich told me to play Marvel with Sensor's main deck, and he had this deck for me. We worked on it together. I really trust his deck building skills. It's a deck that's really fast. I could win on turn 4. I did win on turn 4 one time, so that's pretty cool. And we'll take a look here and see the exact details of the cards. But it's a card, it's a deck that's really fast, but also has some gameplay to it as well.
All right, let's take a look at the hallmark card of the deck. There you see it, Electrostatic Pummeler. Now, this card was kind of around a little bit in the past. Why did you bring it back now?
I brought it back because the ability for you to get so much energy in the format. Standard, I think the best deck is any type of energy deck. Attune with Ether, you have all energy makers, and this card fits right into a deck that could build energy. And you have some cheesy cards in the deck too, which we'll get to. But the deck is fast, the deck is powerful, and I think people don't really expect it anymore. People are all like mono red or teamer or blue-black control. So I think it's going to fly under the radar, so I think it's a good choice.
And like you said, Pummeler can kill people out of absolutely nowhere.
Exactly. People are like, oh yeah, I'm safe. I'll take it. It'd be like, boom, you're dead. Yeah, so.
All right, let's take a look at some of the cards here that you might expect to see at a turn like this. Attune, Servant, and Rogue Refiner.
Yeah, these are all the staple cards. Going turn 2 Servant into a turn 3 Bristling Hydra is a really good draw. Obviously, you want the turn 1 Attune with Ether to fix your mana and to just to get some energy because of your other cards really work well together. And Rogue Refiner is just a staple card. I mean, it's just a 3 mana, 3/2. It comes into play, you draw a card. There's not much more you could ask for that card.
All right, let's take a look at what else you're running here. We've got a black card here in Glint Sleeve Siphoner.
So here's the deal. The deck started with only 4 Long Tusk Cubs and 4 Servant of the Conduit for your 2-drop. The whole thing is that your opponent is always going to have removal. So you want the maximum amount of 2-drops, so then they'll kill your 2-drop, and then your Electrostatic Pummeler will, be more likely to live. So that's the whole idea with it. 2-drops are really important in the deck, and I think that the Siphoner is probably the best one because against blue-black or approach, you're able to draw some cards.
And obviously Bristling Hydra, just an all-star.
Yeah, it's just such a good card. It's really good against mono red, really good against all the decks that I keep saying, because those are the decks that are popular right now, and I think all these cards really match up well against what the metagame is.
All right, let's take a look. Here's when we really start to kind of dive deep. Cartouche of Knowledge.
So Cartouche of Knowledge, the deck started with 4. I cut it down to 2. It is really good. The whole thing is that you have to play 4 larger than lifes, and you have to play 4 Blossoming Defense, because that's like the real core to go all in with the Electrostatic Pummeler. So there wasn't enough room for everything. I actually went down to 19 lands at one point, but I was like, nah, I can't be that crazy. So I went back to 20 last night when I got here. Cartouche is good. You fly over, put it on a Hydra. They don't really expect it. And you could also just kind of suit up a cub, a Long Tusk Cub, get in there, get more energy, get in there, get more energy, and all of a sudden they're on like a 3-turn clock.
How vulnerable is playing this card when you're worried about removal?
Well, the whole thing is that you do have 4 Blossoming Defense, so you're kind of whittling your way and walking on eggshells sometimes, but against some opponents, they tap out, you're just like Cartouche, larger than life, all of a sudden they're dead.
All right, Consign to Oblivion, gotta ask
This is one of my favorite cards in Standard, one of my favorite cards ever printed. It's really good because you want a removal spell, you want some way to interact, but you don't want Fatal Push because Fatal Push does nothing against Glorybringer, does nothing against the control decks, and Vraska's Contempt for the main deck is a bit too slow. So this is a nice fill-in right here, 2 mana, and then on the back end for Oblivion, you can make them discard, maybe they're holding 2 removal spells, and then you follow it up with a Pummeler the following turn, and you could really get them that way.
All right, so a question probably a lot of people have is, let's take a look at your land here.
Okay.
How does it work out for you?
So the land's actually great. Sultai has the best mana in the format because both your fast lands produce green, and that's what you want. Teamer, it has the blue-red one and the blue-green one, so you can't really go turn 1 Attune with Ether all the time. With this deck, you're always able to go turn 1 Attune with Ether. You have 16 ways to produce green, and you have more than enough ways to produce blue and black as well.
Tell me about this one of Hash Up Oasis.
So the Oasis I actually started with 2, went down to 1. It's pretty nice. It actually won me my last game. I was able to pump my guy, and my opponent couldn't handle it. The Oasis is nice just because it works as another pump spell, and they also can't counter it. So if you're playing against a deck that plays some counter spells, that kind of gets around it.
All right, let's take a look at the basics you're running. Anything special here?
No, just 3-3-1. The mana's really good. I never had a mana problem. I mean, I'm sure I did in one of my leagues, many leagues that I did, but for the most part, the mana's going to be good, and the deck is really fast, really powerful.
And you said you did pretty well in leagues as well.
Yeah, actually, me and my friend Matt, we went 4-1, 5-0, 5-0, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1. At one point, we were like 30-5 or 31-4. It was insane.
Wow.
So we were crushing the leagues, and that's something I usually don't do. Before every big tournament, I'll play Magic Online, I'll lose all my tickets, and then I hope to come here and win, you know?
So tell me a little bit about your sideboarding. You say this can sideboard into a more controlling deck.
Yeah, so the sideboard has a couple of Scarab Gods. It has a couple of removal spells in the form of Fatal Push and Vraska's Contempt. And of course, you're going to have some stuff against control like Duress and Negate. So after board, you could really kind of set it up how you want, and you're not necessarily all in on the Pummeler larger-than-life plan. So it's pretty diverse, and I like kind of mixing it up and keep my opponents off guard.
Anybody you want to give a special shout out
Yeah, I
to?
want to give a shout out. I actually teach high school to my sports and marketing class. Though I'm sure they're watching this, so that's what I want to do. Magic's a sport, guys. That's what it is. Just so everybody knows out there, Magic is a sport.
Well, Gerard Fabiano, thanks so much for sharing your deck with us, and
Thank
best
you.
of luck to you in the rest of the tournament.
I'll see you.